Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here with another Extravagant Few Minutes live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube and, of course, on our Facebook page, which is the Captain Lou Extravaganza, and on X at The Real Captain Lou. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Captain Lou Sports Network. You get all of our great programming, including all of our Extravagant Few Minutes episodes live and archived. And, of course, the Extravaganza with yours truly and my tag team partner, Mitch Bernstein. We've got a couple of great shows lined up for you this week. Great guests that we're going to announce here later on today. And, of course, the ACHA Power Play Season 10, Episode 3 coming up real soon right here on the network. So, again, our broadcast today, as always, including all of our shows on the network, is brought to you by the official secondary market of the Captain Lou Extravaganza, secondary market of the Sports Network. And that is, of course, SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou and you'll get $20 off of your purchase. It's that simple. It's free money. There's a game you want to go to this weekend. The Lions on Monday night against Tampa Bay, Michigan State at Indiana, whatever. Make sure you go to SeatGeek and use the promo code Captain Lou and you'll get $20 off of that purchase. All right. Happy Monday, everybody. It's a tough Monday if you're a sports fan here in the state of Michigan and for the city of Detroit. It couldn't have gone any worse for all of our teams here in the state of Michigan. Well, the Red Wings won last night, or Saturday night. So I guess we did get one W in the city of Detroit. Red Wings bounced back after that horrific opening night against the Canadiens. They came back and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs to even their season at 1-1. It's still early, I get it, but wow. What a terrible weekend if you are a sports fan, especially a football fan here in the state of Michigan. We've already touched on the Tigers losing a classic Friday night, Game 5, 15 innings to the Seattle Mariners, 3-2. Ooh, that was a tough one, man. Detroit squandered so many opportunities. We kind of talked about it on Saturday. Skubal pitching a great game, getting yanked way too early, in my opinion. The bats just not coming through really all playoff. I mean, they had one or two good innings the whole weekend, and that's just not going to cut it once you get past the regular season. So Seattle moved on to take on Toronto, and they won last night 3-1. So they've got a 1-0 lead, and they've stolen home field advantage from the Blue Jays. So it'll be interesting to see what they do tonight in Game 2 to maybe take a commanding 2-0 lead over the Blue Jays and head back to the Pacific Northwest. Michigan State got embarrassed at home by UCLA. That wasn't even close. You know, there's folks talking about this is the worst they've seen it since the Bobby Williams area, or even further back, Muddy Waters. That tells you how rough it's been. The vultures are circling at Michigan State right now. Everybody's on social media. You're starting to see some of the newspaper reports. What is it going to take for Jonathan Smith to get let go? His buyout's $33 million, folks. So I don't know if Michigan State's going to pony up that kind of loot at the end of the year, but I got to tell you, it is not looking good for Michigan State right now. That was one of the most lackluster performances at home on a homecoming that I can ever remember a Michigan State team. It's almost as bad when they got beat 49-0 by Michigan when Bobby Williams was coaching back, 30 years ago already, before they got John L. Smith. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is at Michigan State. I honestly, as a Michigan fan, I honestly feel bad for the State fans because I know how much they care, but they're going to stop going to the games. And I got to tell you, it's going to get uglier before it gets prettier there in Michigan State. Realistic expectations now, I don't know if they're going to get enough wins to go to a bowl game, which, I think the pressure is going to be on to pull the plug. So, not a good performance at all. They just look like they waved the white flag last night or Saturday in the second half. So they got to go to Indiana this weekend. And Indiana, after that big win over Oregon this past Saturday, I got to tell you, I would not want to be in Michigan State's shoes this weekend going down to Indiana to take on the Hoosiers. Michigan, they didn't fare much better. They got out-muscled and just they got punished by USC. USC, in my opinion, is not that great. I mean, they came to Illinois and they got embarrassed. And let's be honest. I think they let Michigan State hang around much longer than they should have in that home game. And I don't think they're that good. So what does that say about Michigan? I don't know how good they are. it's still a question mark. Losing the running back, losing Justice is going to be tough. Underwood's played pretty well, but I still think they've got some of the training wheels on them, and it's not going to get much better. I can see maybe 8 wins for Michigan this year now at the most. I really do, because Maryland's no layup. And Ohio State's Ohio State. I just got a bad feeling they're going to come into Michigan and just boat race them at the end of the year. So who knows? They got the game against Michigan State, which who knows what the state of football is going to be in East Lansing by then. I know it's only a couple of weeks away, but oh boy. But no, not a good feeling here in the state of Michigan when it comes to our college teams. All hail Western. They're on top in the MAC in the West Division. So there is that. And of course, our Lions, well, they got outplayed yesterday, plain and simple. Give Kansas City their props. They won 30-17 last night over the Lions. Lions got to regroup. They get an extra day because it's Monday Night Football against Tampa. But who knows what the defense is going to look like next Monday night, taking on Baker Mayfield, who, in my opinion, is the MVP right now in the National Football League. And I want to say this much about the Lions. Good teams overcome questionable calls when it looks like it might be stacked against them. Kansas City, they goaded them into stuff. Branch, I know he got hit with that illegal block in the back or whatever. And then, he just had enough. I know Mahomes was goading him throughout the game, and then he just lost his cool. You can't do that. And that's just, if you want to get the questionable calls your way, you got to beat the good teams. Detroit was doing that. And last year, they got some of those calls their way. Let's be honest. They didn't get them last night. Now, I know Kansas City didn't get any penalties, and there was a couple of questionable calls. That Goff touchdown, I still don't buy the explanation. But still, with that being said, Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped the touchdown pass. Detroit had it 1st and goal early, had to settle for a field goal. You can't do that against a team like Kansas City, who, let's face it, they were a more desperate team last night. They didn't want to go 2-4 on the year. They didn't want to lose at home again. Now they're looking pretty strong. They're going to get Rashid Rice back next week, whether you like it or not, which I don't. But now they've got an opportunity to make a run to Kansas City. And that division's up for grabs. Detroit's, they've got a tough schedule. They got to rebound next week, and it could be without Brian Branch. I got a feeling he's going to be suspended because this isn't the first time he's had incidents like this. And I don't know what else it's going to take for him to learn. Dan Campbell wasn't happy about it after the game last night. He apologized, but you can apologize all you want. I know he plays with an edge, but he's got to be smarter than that. And I think he's going to pay for it with a suspension. That's going to hurt Detroit next week against Tampa Bay because Tampa's coming in riding high. If they're not the best team in the NFC right now, they're right up there. I got to think that they are, in my opinion. I think they're better than Philadelphia. They're better than Detroit. Who else is better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now in the NFC? So that's going to be a monumental task for the Lions at home Monday night, 7 o'clock next week, the early game, which is good for guys like me. So I can probably stay up and watch that one. So we'll keep an eye on Brian Branch if he gets suspended. If he doesn't, he's going to get one hellacious fine for, just kind of acting, whatever. So I don't get it, but I guess I do get it a little bit. Frustration can build up, but he's got to be better than that. Let's just face it. And referees are going to see that, so the benefit of a doubt goes away when you do stupid stuff like that. And Brian Branch hasn't learned that. If he gets suspended, I hope he learns from that. But it could be costly for the Lions. All right. Well, there's been some firings in the world of college football and in the NFL today. Callahan got fired at Tennessee with their 1-5 start. But nothing more, I guess, I don't know if surprising is the right word, but nothing bigger than Penn State letting go James Franklin yesterday. I was surprised by it. I didn't think they'd fire him at the end of the year, but this is the new world we live in now with NIL and the transfer portal. Firing him kind of makes sense. Now, I know he's got a $49 million buyout, but now Penn State can get somebody in before the portal season starts in February or January. I mean, there's only one session now, one open window for the portal. And that's, I think, why Penn State did it. But I'm here to tell you, Penn State, I think, is going to take a step back. Who's going to go there with that looming over their head? They're pretty much going to start over. And, Losing Drew Aller, it doesn't help matters any for Penn State. I know they were embarrassing losses to Northwestern and to UCLA out there. The loss at Oregon at home wasn't embarrassing, but Franklin just couldn't win the big game. Great record, 13 wins, 12 wins, 11 wins, whatever. Don't feel sorry for him. He's going to have 49 million reasons to be happy after the sting wears off. But I think he's going to be employed pretty soon as a football coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to somewhere like Arkansas. But Penn State, to me, is going to be the new Nebraska. I don't know how they recover from something like this, because you've got overzealous donors, overzealous boosters, and the NIL expectations are going to get way out of hand. If you have a bad stretch of games, you go to the playoff next year or the last year, you're done. That's it. That doesn't matter if you go to the playoffs last year. James Franklin is victimized by the NIL and by overzealous boosters and donors. It doesn't matter if he went to the playoff last year. He didn't win these 3 games. They were embarrassing losses. The one to Northwestern, obviously embarrassing. His track record isn't the greatest in the big games, but he got him there. I don't feel sorry for him. I'm not the biggest James Franklin fan, but I just think it's a big mistake Nebraska or Penn State's doing. They're going to be the new Nebraska. Nebraska was not relevant for a lot of years. They're borderline relevant right now. They're ranked in the top 25, which to me is crazy because they should have lost to Michigan State. Michigan punked them at Nebraska. I don't understand why Nebraska's ranked. But Penn State is going to be going down that road where they're going to be slightly relevant, but they're not going to be in the championship picture for a few years. I just don't see it. Who's going to go in there and try to keep that up? The burden to try to keep that up with overzealous donors and the NIL, I just don't see it at Penn State. I know it's a big name now, but so was Nebraska a generation and a half ago or a couple of generations ago, and they spit the bit. It's going to take a little bit to get over this if you're Penn State. They're going to have interim coach now, but they're going to have to hurry up and get somebody. And who's going to want to be under that microscope, which is Penn State? Who knows? It's a new way of living now in college football with the NIL and all the money being shelled out by donors and whatnot. $50 million buyout. Boy, oh boy. It's great to be a college coach, isn't it? All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to give you Presley's parlays. Not a great weekend for us there either, but it is October. Seems like the cooler always hits us in October. Let's see if we can rebound tonight. You're watching an Extravagant Few Minutes live right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here. Hey, is there a ball game you want to go to last minute? How about the Spartans at Spartan Stadium? Go to the Big House to watch the Wolverines. Is there an NFL game you want to go to? Lambeau Field, Ford Field, wherever, Baltimore. How about the Tigers for the pennant drive? Well, go to SeatGeek. Get those tickets there. Use the promo code Captain Lou right on the screen, and you'll get $20 off of your purchase. It's that simple. So go to the Spartan game. Go to the Big House. But use the promo code Captain Lou at SeatGeek, and you'll be all set. Indeed, you will. Again, use the promo code Captain Lou. $20 off your next purchase. There's a game you want to go to this weekend. The Lions at home against Tampa Bay on Monday night. That's going to be a raucous crowd there. Michigan State down in Indiana. How about Notre Dame and USC? Go to SeatGeek. Use the promo code Captain Lou. It's that simple. The official secondary market of the Captain Lou Sports Network. Hey, before we get to Parlay or Presley's parlay pick for tonight, I just want to go back to the Big Ten for a minute. And after this weekend, with what happened with Michigan State and Michigan and all that with Penn State, it just, to me, the Big Ten right now is so vastly overrated. And I just don't see it. Ohio State's number one. I think they're head and shoulders above everybody else. Indiana and their fans may have something to say about it. Big win for Curt Cignetti. But other than that, Oregon is okay. They've got a loss. But I look at the standings in the Big Ten, and you've got USC ranked 20th. I just don't see it. I think they're getting ranked on legacy and their name. And how is Nebraska ranked? I don't see it either. I've watched them play 2 games now, thoroughly, Michigan State and Michigan. And they got punked by Michigan. If it weren't for a Hail Mary, they'd have got destroyed worse than it was. And they let Michigan State hang around. If it weren't for a block punt for a touchdown and Michigan State's gaffe on special teams on the kick, State probably could have won that game. So, I just don't see it. The one team that's not getting a lot of pub that should be up there instead of Nebraska is Washington. And it just seems very mediocre in the Big Ten. Illinois being ranked for a while, I didn't see it. Maryland's lost a couple of games. It's ugly. It really is ugly right now. Penn State 0-3 in the Big Ten. Who would have thought that, huh? Now, the Big Ten to me is vastly overrated this year. And they're going to get 3 teams in the playoff: Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. I don't see USC getting that. They're going to have to win out. And I don't think they're that good. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're that good. No way is Nebraska going to get in. So who knows? But all right, let's get now to Presley's parlay, shall we? Rough weekend in general for football fans around here. 1-4 this weekend, but we're still 27-14 on the year. So we look to get back to 667, if you will, on the year, which is still not too bad. We're still up 13 dog biscuits and pizza pies. So we've got the super teaser tonight. There's 2 games on Monday Night Football. Buffalo is in Atlanta to take on the Falcons, kind of a snoozer game. And you've got Washington taking on Washington hosting Chicago. That one should be a decent game. So here we go. Let's see if we can rebound tonight with Presley's parlays. 13-point teaser. It's a super teaser. We're going to take Buffalo. We're going to buy it down so they get 8.5 points on the road at Atlanta. We're going to buy down the over-under to 36.5. And in the nightcap, Chicago right now is a 5.5-point dog at Washington. I'm going to buy up the points and get them to plus 18.5 at Washington. And it's over 36.5 is what I'm going to take for the over-under. That's minus 140 right there. So again, this is it's one to kind of get our confidence back. I really like this one with the 13-point teaser. Buffalo plus 8.5 and over 36.5. Chicago plus 18.5, over 36.5, and it's at minus 140. All right, that's going to do it for another Extravagant Few Minutes live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Again, we want to thank everybody for welcoming us into your homes, on your computers, laptops, television screens, however you watch us around the world here on the Captain Lou Sports Network. Enjoy the football games tonight. Enjoy the baseball, by the way. Dodgers and Brewers game 1 tonight. Go Brew Crew. Just a reminder, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long, everybody.